Hello everyone, my name is Saurabh Kumar and I welcome you all to my video series where we are covering Amazon Web Service training. So basically we have reached now to part number 14 where we will be having a look on practical part. So what are the practical we are going to perform in today's lesson? That we will be creating an Amazon Linux instance, because in previous session we have talked about how to create Windows instance and how to access Windows instance. So in this video we will be having a look at how to create a Linux instance and then how to connect Linux instance by using maybe PuTTY, by using OpenSSH or by using browser. So we will be having a look at all these three areas, how we can access the Linux instance. Like if I compare it with Windows instance, we were using RDP. So RDP was being used to access remote desktop of the Windows instance, but here in Linux we are not going to use RDP. We will be using either SSH, either we will use application like PuTTY, or we will use browser based access. Then at the end of this video we are also going to create one more Linux instance with some bash script, where we will put some bash script there which will make something already predefined changes, like maybe like you say that if you want to have a Linux operating system running there but you want to have it already updated, you want to have some service already installed or running there, so how you can add those script while making a new instance, while making or creating a new Linux instance. So these are the things we are going to see in today's practical part. So let's begin. So let's begin with the very first task first, that is we are going to create an Amazon Linux instance. That is the first practical we are going to perform today. So let's start with it. I need to go to any of the browser to access the Amazon site, from where I need to log in first. Thereafter, I need to just log in with my login ID and password. So once I logged in, rest some of the part you already guys know, that we will be looking for a service called EC2 service. So either you can see it in a recently visited services also, or you can see it in all services list of compute, or either you can also search here by typing EC2. So you can use any of this method to go to EC2 service. Last session we did actually one practical where we created one instance of Windows, but at the end of the session we deleted also, we terminated. So now if you go to instances, you will be able to see that the instance list is completely blank. I don't have any instance right now. So let us create a new instance. You can go to again dashboard, you see running instance are 0. So let's go to launch a instance. We are going to click on launch instance here. As per our today practical part, because we are planning to create Amazon Linux instance, so let's use any of the AMI for Amazon Linux. You can perform even with the Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu. So the steps will remain same, but keep in your mind, you will be always for practical purpose you will be using only free tier eligible, so that there will be no any charge to use this AMI. So for me, I am also going to maybe check out, so that I only get here the option which are free tier eligible. So last day we did already practical of Windows Server. So today I am going to just choose maybe Amazon Linux from this one itself. We have multiple Amazon Linux option. We have Amazon Linux 2018. We have Linux 2 AMI HVM supported. So let me go with this option. 64-bit. I go with select. Here from this is the second option. The first option was choose AMI. Second is choose instance type. So in the instance type selection option, we are going to choose the free tier. We have already discussed about these things, so I'm not going to talk again about it. We are already aware about these types and all. So the family will be general purpose. I'm using type t2.micro, that is free tier eligible. Then I go with the next, configure instance detail. Here we have also covered about what are the meaning of the all option, how many instance you want to create, in which particular availability zone you want to create, which region you are creating. Please pay attention here. You must have selected your specific region where you exactly you are willing to create your instance. So for me, I have selected Mumbai. So I will leave default and then I continue here. One more thing maybe today I can add here, because maybe if you want to see one more option today which I have not discussed about in last session, protect against accidental termination, I can at least enable this one. So at the end of today's lesson I will show you what will be the benefit of using it. So I'm just adding one extra thing which I did in the last practical, just protect against accidental termination. Because in last session when I created Windows instance, you guys have seen that it was very easy to select the instance, right click and go to the instance state, terminate, and it was easily terminated. But if I enable this protect against accidental termination, by mistake or because of some scenario, you will not be easily able to terminate it until unless you will not remove the protection from there. So I will show you the benefit of this at the end of today's lesson. So let me continue here. Let me click on now add a storage. Here you see we are getting a storage of 8 GB. That's the EBS type, elastic block storage. So when you use Windows instance, you get here 30 GB, which we were getting in the last session. Today we are using Linux instance, so that's why we are getting 8 GB only here. The volume type will be remain like same, root. It is going to be the device is /dev/xvda. Here the size is 8 GB and this is the volume type. So I have also explained about this in the last session. So this is magnetic type of, that is a standard type of hard disk. If you go for SSD, you have three options, IO1, IO2. These are for the high input output, and this is the basic one, general purpose. GP2 means general purpose SSD. So if you go GP2 selection means general purpose SSD. This question may come in the exam, interview or somewhere, so please pay attention here. When you are creating an instance, if you are selecting volume type GP2, what does it mean? You have selected a hard disk, that is general purpose SSD. That's your storage. I am leaving this remaining things as it is like default, meaning that when I terminate the machine, automatically this hard disk will be also terminated. It will be also deleted. Then I go to add tag. Tag is optional. So as I have explained you in the last session, you can have a tag. For example, it is a best practice that you should always have some tag. For example, I put tag of department, and maybe this machine is going to work in my account department. So I just say account. You can add some more tag also. I'm just continuing with it. Configure security group. As I explained in the last session also, security group means you are creating a security group here where you are defining some rules that what kind of maybe protocol you want to have allowed, which you want to deny or something. So by default, because we are making a Linux instance, SSH is going to be already there in your security group. When we were creating the Windows instance, RDP was already there. So if you already have any existing security group which you have maybe used for any other previous instance, you can go to the choose option. Or if you have not, you don't have, like right now I don't have any security group because I created one security group in last session for Windows, but I deleted it, so I don't have it. Otherwise it could have given me here in the list. So I'm continuing with the create, and I give any name of this security group. Maybe I give the name that Linux, or just let me use shortcut Linux security group 01. Linux security group 01, that's the name I have given. I can give the description in detail like Linux instance security security group. You can go ahead with it. So by default SSH is going to be there, that's okay. Now what we are going to do here extra, that is who will be able to access it. So I'm for this practical only for doing a learning purpose, I am going with the anywhere. Anybody can access it, but we have talked about it in the last session that if you want to have a good security, you will be always going with the either my IP, so only my laptop will be able to access this machine, or either custom where you will define which particular IP can be allowed to access SSH of this machine. So as of now I'm going with the anywhere. So it has selected any IP version 4 IP, any IP version 6 IP can have access of it. So this way we have added here the SSH. Now I'm going with the review and launch. So here is the review. What type of instance you have selected? ECU, virtual CPU is 1 GB RAM, EBS storage is connected, load to moderate is network performance. Security group you have added, that is LSG01, that's the name you have given. Description is here. The security group is having what is allowed here, SSH for any IP version 4, for any IP version 6. Instance detail you can see from here. A storage detail you can see from here. We have added 8 GB GP2 type of volume. Tag you can see from here. I have added tag department account. So now you can click on launch. This is now the question we have discussed in the last session also, that you need to have a key pair, and that key pair help you to decrypt the password of this machine. Key pair is not being used to do anything else. What is the use of key pair is to decrypt the password, or this will be containing the password actually, which will be required to access your this instance. So if you have any instance there already, you will remain with choose and you will be getting a list here. As of now, if I don't have, I will go with create new key pair. So right now let me create a key pair for this machine. One thing, let me add here one thing, that you can have a single key pair. Maybe right now, for example, I am creating a key pair. So next time when I will making again any other instance, I can use the same key which I am creating right now. I don't have to every time download this key. So it's optional. You can have a same key for multiple instances, or you can have different key for each instances. So as of now, I am going to create a new key pair. I am giving the name of this key, that is maybe because it is my Amazon Linux. So I am giving the name Amazon Linux. Amazon Linux key. That's the name I am giving, Amazon Linux key. Download key pair, because until unless you don't download, when you are going to do the access of this, you will not be able to access. So that's why AWS is having a restriction that until unless somebody doesn't download it, they will not be able to launch the instance. So I click on download key pair. My download is done. Then it is going to give me the option of launch the instance. Click on it. Launching instance means you have given a green signal to AWS to create your instance, to make the instance. So now you can go to view instance and you can see one instance we have made. A state is right now pending, because we have learned about these things in the last session. Whenever you are creating a new instance, first it goes to the state of pending, then it will go to running. So it will be taking a bit time, like 1 minute maybe, and then it is going to also check the status. So this will be 2 by 2. Once the all checking will be done, one for starting the executing this task, creating that instance, and another check will be for making it a start or run, so that we can access it. So once it will become 2 by 2, then this instance is ready to be used. Meanwhile, we can give any name to this instance. So maybe I give this instance name, that is Amazon Linux 01. That's my instance. Sorry, let me type once again, Amazon Linux 01, say this one. So that will be the name of this instance. And here is the detail. Instance ID is this. Instance type is T2 micro, that is free tier eligible. Availability zone, it has choose AP, Asia Pacific South 1B. A state, it is saying me running, and here the status is still working on it. Now you can see from here that a status check is 2x2 checked. Everything is okay, meaning that this instance is ready to use. This instance has been created and it is running Linux, Amazon Linux. Now next is we are moving to the next practical, connect Linux instance. We are done with creating a Amazon Linux instance. We have learned how to create Linux instance. It was almost same like the way we use for Windows instance, but connecting will be a bit different. For better understanding of it, let me go to the one of my slide here, this one. Let's have a look here. If you create EC2 Linux instance, if it was Windows then it was easy, but if you have a Linux instance, maybe you want to access this instance. First question comes that, do you want to access this instance on a Windows machine or on a Linux machine? Meaning that, for example, this instance we have created, okay, but my personal laptop which I am using is running Windows machine. So how can I access this instance which is running Linux? How can I be able to access the instance of it? Or what if I am using, my laptop is running Linux, then how can I access it? So the condition may change. If you are using Windows machine, you will have to use these two methods. First is you will go to command prompt and you will run SSH there. That is one method. Second is you can use puttigen. Third, one more thing I can add from my side, that if I have a pen here, let me add. Third, we can also use, that is the browser base. We can use the browser. That is also good. But browser you will be able to only access when you are login already within the Amazon console, AWS management console. So if you are already in management console, then only you will be using browser. So let me keep it in the side. We have only two options here, that is you use CMD and run SSH command there, or either you use puttigen type of software or application on your Windows machine. If you are using Linux machine, you have to just go to terminal and run SSH command. Very simply you can access the EC2 Linux instance. So let me go with the now this state, how to access it. So let me switch back to my browser where I have this instance running. Now it's time to connect with it. So let's go to connect button. I want to get a console of it where from I can do something in my Linux machine, right? So here you see there are three options are. One is a standalone SSH client. So you will be able to access through any of the SSH client, either it is Windows, either it is Linux. If you want to access it through the SSH client, this is the command it is asking you to run. This is the command you need to run there, and then you will be able to access the Linux instance there. Very simple. So if you want to check it, if you want to see how this Linux instance is going to work there, so very simply, like my laptop, if I take example from my laptop, I am running Windows. So if I have a Windows machine and I want to access that instance, the method I have to use is, I have to go to my CMD, command prompt. From my command prompt, I will be using SSH command. Which SSH command exactly? So this is the link it is giving you. You can copy this link and I can paste it in my command prompt. Let me repeat the process. This is the exactly command. Why I am copying it? Because it is not only command, it is also having exact the username plus the IP address, public IP address of my that instance with the agent name with the site name. So this is what the exact whole address is. So I am copying this exact address with the command, copy it, Go to the command prompt of your Windows machine, paste it there. It's not being pasted, just a moment. So what we have to just do is, let me try one more time here, that is, select this all. And I am going to take a copy of it. Then you go to command prompt and just press right click there to get this command there. Hit enter. Now it is just asking me that, are you sure you want to continue connecting this machine, because we are connecting for first time. So I am saying yes, I really want to connect. Now it is telling me some error. It is giving me error that permission denied. What permission denied? It is not able to access the public key. The key which is required to access this machine, maybe it is not able to access that. So it can be sometime error. It's not all the time you will be getting. But in case if you get this error, let me give you the solution what you can do. So if you remember, I downloaded the key. When I was making the instance key pair I'm talking about. It is in my download folder here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut this from here, or let me just copy maybe, because I need it once again for so many practical today. So let me just copy it and let me keep it to a location where my user has full power to access that file. So let me just keep it in my username here, because all the files which is there will have my Saurabh user account of my Windows machine will have full power to access those files. So now this error should not be coming. So let's try one more time the command, and now you see I have the access of the Linux instance. Which instance it is? EC2 Amazon Linux 2 AMI instance, and I am getting here the terminal of that Linux machine. So now I can do anything what I want to do on that Linux machine. I have it accessed from my Windows machine. I can show you who am I. These are the command which we run on Linux machine. Who am I? So it will tell me my user ID EC2-user. That's the user ID, default user ID created on your Linux instance. I can do anything. If I want to check is this machine is also connected to internet, so I can check like ping space www.google.com, and I can see this machine is having a connection with the internet also. So this was the first method I have shown you, how you can have or how you can connect Linux instance from your Windows machine by simply going to the command prompt using the SSH command, and then you will be having the access of it. So if you are a Linux user, you will be able to perform all the tasks now from here. Creating user account, creating file, installing any specific kind of package there. Whatever you want to do, you will be able to do from there. So being a cloud solution architect, the course which you are learning, your task is to make EC2 instance, provide this SSH command to the user so that he can access it. Once he will access, he knows how to use the Linux. He knows what his task is to do on the Linux. So this was one method. Second method, let me show you. So I have finished with this task. If you have a Windows machine and if you want to access your Linux instance, I went to the command prompt and I used the SSH command. And by using that, I was able to access this EC2 instance, Linux instance from my Windows machine. I was able to access it. So this task is completed. Let me show you this third task, which is very easy to do. Even if you want to continue with this, what will be the step? So simply you select the instance, go to connect and go with the third option, EC2 instance connect browser based SSH connection. So go with this option. By default, the username will be taken already, EC2-user. That's the default username of any Linux instance if you create there. So now click on connect and you will be able to see that it is very easily going to connect, and I have the command prompt or a terminal of that Linux machine, EC2 Amazon Linux 2, and I will be able to again perform all the tasks whatever I want to do on my Linux PC. So this is nothing else, it's like I'm trying to tell you how you can remotely access your Linux instance from any of the Windows machine. So now these are the two tasks we have finished with. I have finished with how to access it through the command prompt, how you can access through the browser based. Now let me show you this option, how you can access with the help of PuTTY software. So to perform this task, I have to go with some of the steps here. The very first step is I have to go to my browser and I need to look for a software that is called as a PuTTY generator. Go to PuTTY site and you can download it from there. Go to download PuTTY for Windows and you can download it from here. Very simply, you can download from here. Alright, I already have downloaded it once. So let me check in my download. This is the PuTTY I am talking about. So once you have already downloaded, you can just double click on it and you will be able to install it with clicking next. I have already installed it. So once it is already installed, you go to your start button of your computer and look here PuTTY. If you are not able to see, you can type also PuTTY, or you can also use this word in your run. You can go to run, you can paste there, you can type there PuTTY. So it will open PuTTY key generator. Can you see this window? PuTTY key generator. What does it mean? That the key which we downloaded, actually if you remember the key which we downloaded, it is with the extension of .pem. That's the extension right now. But PuTTY doesn't understand this. PuTTY need different extension. So very first task I am going to do that, I am going to use this PEM file to make a different extension file type. Let me show you what you are going to do here. So open the key generator and click on the load button here. Load. And load that file which you downloaded with the extension of PEM. Amazon Linux key.pem, this file. So this file will be loaded here and it is showing that this is the information this file may contain. Next task what you are going to do is, by using this file, now you are going to make another private key. So save private key. And you are going to save it anywhere. So for me, I will prefer to save it into download itself, where I have the PEM file, same place. And here I will be also using even the same name here. So if I say all file here, can you see this name? I will be giving the same name there, Amazon. So I use the same name here. But only one thing I will do the change, that because this is already I have. So I will just remove this .pem from the end. I will just leave that name there, and the file type this time I am going to use ppk, PuTTY private key file. Again I am repeating, what I am trying to do is, let me show you here. I have in my download, I already have a PEM file, but for my PuTTY software needs different file extension. It requires ppk extension, PuTTY private key, and the one which we have is PEM. So to convert it from PEM to ppk, what I am doing, I am using PuTTY key generator. The first task I need to do is go to load. I choose that file which I already have, PEM. This is my file which I downloaded when I was making key pair of the instance. After selecting it, then you go to save private key, and here you will be using the same name there, but only the extension will be changed. So I will save as ppk. So now when you click on save, check it in your download folder. You will see one more file here called Amazon Linux key, same name, Amazon Linux key, Amazon Linux key. There is no any change in the name, only extension I changed. This one was PEM, this one I made .ppk. It is not showing here, but it is a ppk file. If I keep my mouse there, you can see type is putty private key file, and it will be having an icon like this, a computer. On the top of that there will be a hat. So this file is required by my putty software to access this Linux machine. If I want to perform this step. If I want to access this EC2 Linux machine on my Windows machine by the help of putty, then I need to do this task. For CMD there was no requirement. For the browser there was no requirement. I am just showing you this step. So now once you have already the ppk file, now what will be the next task? So now very easily you go to your Windows machine, you now look for putty software, not putty gen. Now you just go to now putty, which gives you this type of interface. At this interface, very first thing you need to do is go to SSH setting here. In the SSH you go to authentication option, and you will be already adding that ppk file here. So go to browse, ppk file, open. Meaning that whenever now you are going to do any SSH connection with the help of your putty, it will use this authentication key which you have attached. So now if I go to my session and I want to do any SSH connection to anybody, it will use that key there. So now to whom you want to access, so here you are going to type like this, EC2 hyphen user. What does it mean? EC2 hyphen user, it is a by default user account created when you are creating any Linux instance. So that's the name I am giving. Then at the rate, I need a public IP address of that Linux machine. How will I get to know public address? So go to the machine. This is the instance. Here you scroll down, you will see that IP version for public address for this machine is this one. So just copy on it and paste it here on the putty. If I repeat, this is the IP address with the username at public IP. What I am doing, SSH with the port number 22, and I have already added the key. So now if I click on open, I am going to just click on yes. This is just a confirmation trust message. So I am again going to get the console of my EC2 Amazon Linux instance. So here you see EC2 Amazon Linux 2. I am getting the command prompt or terminal of this Linux machine, and I can again do whatever I want to do on this Linux PC. So I have shown you three different methods you can have to access this Linux instance on your Windows machine anytime. Now we are moving to this practice part. What if maybe you are a Linux user, your laptop is also running Linux operating system, and you want to access Linux instance from there. So this is my laptop which is maybe running Linux machine, and here from I want to access this Linux instance. What I will do? I don't have command prompt in Linux. I don't have putty software there. So what I will be doing? I will use simple terminal and I will use the command prompt. For me, I don't have right now any Linux machine. But maybe what I can do, I can go to my VMware where I have Kali Linux machine. It is also a flavor of Linux machine. So maybe I will use this machine. So now my scenario is like this. My local machine is also Linux and I want to access also Linux instance. So what will be the step? So this is my Kali Linux machine starting. So once this machine will be started, I am going to just log in here with my credential. And then to access it, where from I will get the command, where from I am going to get the command. So the option I will get easily from this. If I go to my console, it was already showing me when I click on connect. This is the command I need. So again I copy this and I am going to use this command this time on the Linux machine. So I open the terminal of my Linux machine. There I am just going to paste this command and I am going to show you. So before I execute this command, you see right now I am at the root at Kali. I am on the Kali Linux machine terminal. But once I hit with this, do you think it is going to be accessed just by typing this command? Do you think it will be allowed to access it? Answer is of course it is not going to be allowed. Let me even say here yes. To continue connecting, it is telling me that it is not having the key, or maybe permission is denied, because it also need one more thing, that is key. So now I need to have that key also. Where I have the key, I have the key on my machine in download. This key it is talking about PEM file. So I need to just get this file on my Linux machine so that my Linux can also access it. I go to the files, I go to root folder and I paste it here, that file. So I have that file now here, Amazon Linux key.pem file. Now let me try one more time here. So now if I try with this command, now you can see I do have access of it. I am on EC2 Amazon Linux 2 AMI. You can see this. So this way I have tried to demonstrate you how you can do this practical, accessing a Linux instance from a Linux machine itself. So you went to terminal, you use the SSH command, but you need to have the key, that is .pem file. The key you need to have it with you, so that you will be allowed to access that machine. So this is what I did and I have the access of it. I am having right now the access of that machine, EC2 user at IP this. So this was the method of accessing the Linux instance from Linux machine itself. So this way we have finished with all these only two steps. We have learned how to create Amazon Linux instance. We have learned how to connect Linux instance with multiple options, Windows PuTTY, OpenSSH, browser based and all. Now I am moving to the third practical of today's lesson, that is create an Amazon Linux instance, which we have already done here. There is no difference. Only the difference I want to add here is with bash script. This time I am going to perform exactly the same task the way I did here, but I will just add some bash script this time. So what we are going to do exactly that, let me explain you in a right way here. For example, if you want to create an Amazon Linux instance where you want to, for example, your condition is you want to already have installed update. Maybe you want to create an instance and you want to say that this instance automatically will update, it will have the up-to-date update. Then you want to maybe install any specific service there. For example, I have taken example of Apache. Maybe you want to make that instance a web server. Plus maybe you want to also ensure some other thing. For example, I have taken example of service maybe I want to talk about this Apache service. I want to make sure that even my this instance get restart or anything, this service should always be running. Once whenever the machine get restart, automatically this machine particular service should be automatically started. So for that we just have to perform some few extra tasks there. Let's perform that task. So we already have an instance which is running. Now I'm going to make a new instance, and this time I will be adding some bash in that instance. So let me click on launch instance. I'm going to select any Amazon Linux, same like the previous time. I will be choosing free tier eligible, same like previous time, instance type. Only this is the place where I am going to do some change when we reach to configure instance detail. Here you have to go to scroll down and the last option, user data. Here we are going to write that bash script. Here we are going to write those commands. What commands I need to type? Let me show you what exactly we have to type here. So here this is a script, so I will recommend you to kindly follow exactly the same the way I type. If you have any mistake of maybe putting a space or something also, it is possible to get some error while launching this instance. So here I am typing hash exclamation a space slash bin slash bash. I am going to first of all bash. There I am running the first command. Here is going to be yum. You know, I guess what is yum is. Yum help you to do the installation of any service there. So yum a space install a space minus y for yes. Then the second thing I am doing is yum a space install a space minus y a space. I want to, as I said, according to my scenario, I want to run their Apache service or web service there. So I will be typing the name of the service which I want to start or install there. HTTPD. That's the command for running Apache on the Linux machine. Then I will be adding here something like service. What I want to say that the service of HTTPD, I want to make it a start, and then I will just end with chkconfig, means checking configuration, a space HTTPD, a space on. So this is only the bash I am adding here extra. What does it mean that this bash will be doing what? It will make sure that when this instance get ready, automatically it will be having update. Second thing, that there will be already Apache's web service running, and this Apache web service will be automatically on as soon as whenever you restart your machine also, whenever instance will get a restart. So this is only one thing. I have it here in the slide also. If you want to take a note, you will be getting note from here. So after doing this task, now I am going with the, let me tell you here, you see I am not protecting this against accidental termination for this practical, meaning that I will be at the end of today's lesson I will be able to show you, like, because previous instance which I made I was having protected, this one I am going to leave it like that. So that's how I will be able to show you what is the difference when you have a protect, when you don't have a protect. So now I go with the storage part. Because it is a Linux machine, so it is going to be 8 GB. There is nothing new. It is going to use GP2, general purpose SSD. Tag you can add according to your requirement. Maybe this one is going to be the department, and maybe this machine is going to work in my sales department. Security group. So to save the time, I can just add here the security group of previous one. You remember I created a security group for Linux security group 01 for my previous instance. So you see, you are already seeing the practical how you can use the existing security group. So maybe I'm going to use this security group where SSH is already allowed. Then this is the review. So after checking your review, now I'm going to click on launch. Now it is talking about the key. So as I said earlier also, you can have new key pair for each and every instance, or you can use the same key pair also for multiple instances. So it's up to you what you want to do. Do you want to create a new key pair? So it will be again downloaded and that key will require whenever you want to access this instance, or do you want to use already the existing one? So for me, I will go with maybe this time existing one, because I already have, if you remember for last instance, I already downloaded the key Amazon Linux key.pem. So I will be using the same key, Amazon Linux key. I acknowledge that yes, I already have this. Why it is asking me? Because in case if you don't have this key and you click on launch instance, you will be suffering, because you will not be able to access this instance. You don't have the key. So that's why it is just taking acknowledgement that yes, you acknowledge that yes, you have this key still with your computer. In case if you have deleted, maybe I have it here. What if I have just deleted it? Then this choosing this method will not be helpful. So I am continuing with the launch instance now and click on view instance. So now you see I have now two instances. One I made before with no any specific setting. This is the second instance I am making where I have added some bash script. For this machine, let me give the name also. Maybe I will call it Amazon Linux with, or just maybe bash. I just put this name here to easily identify it. So this machine I gave the name Amazon Linux bash. This is Amazon Linux 01. This is my normal Linux machine, and this is where I have added some bash, where this bash is making this machine ready with Apache, ready with up to date, all those kind of things. So this machine may take extra 1 minute maybe, because you are also running some bash there, not only creating instance, you are also running some bash there. So we have to just wait for a moment to become this status checking. Rather than having initializing, it should become 2x2 check. So once this becomes 2x2 check, the same steps will be followed to connect it. The way we have connected this machine, same method you can use for this machine also to connect. You have all those options which we learned here. You can go with these steps, you can go with this step, whatever option you want to have, you can use it to access the Linux instance. So we can see now that this machine is also a status check is 2x2 checks, means my bash script which I typed there has executed properly. In case if you do any mistake, maybe if you do mistake by typing or putting a proper space or something, then you may get some error there. So once it is like this, meaning that everything is fine. Now the way we were accessing this instance, similarly I can access this instance also. Simply by selecting, going to connect, you choose what method you want to choose to access it. Let me go with the easiest method, that was going to the CMD and typing here this SSH command. Keep in your mind, this SSH command will be vary for each of the instance, because it contains the public IP address of that machine. So it may vary. That's why I have to copy it. And now I will go to the command prompt. And paste that command, hit enter, type yes, and you can see I'm having the access of it. So this is the different machine. Let me keep it separate. Let me open my another CMD and I show you with the another instance. This instance, I select this one, connect. So now I have two instances. I am showing you the difference between them also. So I go with this command prompt, hit enter. So you see now I have access of both of this machine. Let's see the difference. Let me make it like this. So these are the two different instances. Only the difference, if you remember, one instance I have run some bash and another instance I haven't run any bash. So if you want to check from here also, how will you check? Let me show you something here. For one machine, when I check one thing maybe here, that let me check about the status of HTTPD service. So I run a command systemctl a space a status HTTPD. Sorry for bad command, it is system. So here you see this machine was with bash, so here you see the status is active and running. But if I talk about the first instance which I made today, if I use here the same command, systemctl a space a status a space HTTPD, what you can see here, unit http.service could not be found. I hope now it will be very clear for you. We created two instances here. Both of them I have used the same AMI. I used the same type of instance type, instance size, everything is same. Only this machine I added some bash. So here you can see on this machine when I am doing remote access, I am able to see there that HTTP service is already running, but on the first one it is not running. I can even check in some other way, like if I am not maybe person who is good with the Linux. In that scenario you can also test with one more thing. What the thing I am talking about is, let me show you. So these are the two machines I have, right? For this machine, what's the IP address? Public IP address is 15.206.90.85. Let me copy it, paste that IP and try to access. So if it is this machine, because I made up with the bash and where I made it with the web service, so it should have a website running on it. It should give me a website here. That will be a testing method used by the normal people, those who are not very good maybe in Linux. They can simply get the IP address of that machine and they can test it in the browser that is it bringing any website or not. Wow. So now it is giving me an error. What can be the error? This error can be because of one thing, that is, if I tell you this machine is added with a security group. If you remember, which security group we have used for both of this machine? For both of this machine we use a security group. So go to this network security groups. We have only one security group, Linux security group 01. There you click on it. You see in this security group what you have allowed? Only SSH type of traffic. But if you are trying to access a website, which type of traffic you are having? HTTP traffic. So you have to add one more thing, edit inbound rule, add rule, and let me also add a HTTP protocol here. Let's look for HTTP. So let's add HTTP, which can be accessed from anywhere, and then click on save the rule. So I'm adding one extra thing, that is HTTP, which can be accessed from any of version 4 address, any of version 6 address. Save the rule. So this security group, which is called Linux security group 01, which I created, this is the same security group applied on my both of the instance. both of this instance. But just because this instance is having a web service already there, it will be able to give me a website. If I refresh again, you see it is giving me a website from this IP address. That means this instance is running a web service and it is providing me a website. But if I talk about the second instance, this one, here is the IP of this instance. If I copy this IP address, I paste it here. For this instance, I am not going to get any website on it, because this computer, this instance is not running any web service. I have shown you, I have proved it also from the command. When I checked for the service, one machine was saying that a status is active, one machine was saying HTTP service not found. So this was all about in all this practical which we supposed to perform today. So we are finished with creating an Amazon Linux instance. We have learned how to connect Linux instance with multiple different method. Then I have also shown you how to create Amazon Linux instance with some bash script there. So that was all. But before we conclude for today's lesson, let's also try to complete one more task here. That if you remember, while creating this machine, the first machine, I have protected it from any kind of terminate process. So if I select this machine which is running, if I take right click and I want to go to terminate, I want to terminate it, means a stop and remove. So if I click on terminate to this machine, you can see that it is telling me, are you sure you want to terminate this instance? And it is giving me option of cancel and yes terminate, but yes terminate is not highlighted. Meaning that even if I click here multiple times, you can maybe hear the sound for my mouse. I am clicking here but nothing is happening because this instance have termination protection and will not be terminated. So this protection prevent from any accidental deletion. For example, somebody by mistake clicked it and just clicked on terminate by mistake. So at least it will protect. Nobody will be able to terminate it until unless you don't change the setting. While for this guy, this machine which I created, it is also running, but I can easily terminate it. I go to instance state, click on terminate, and here you see the button is highlighted, yes terminate. So I can simply terminate a running machine also. It is first going to shut down, then it will go to terminated state, and after 20 minutes it will be removed from this list. Now let's have a look on this one. What if I want to terminate this machine? What will be the step? So first step you have to perform, that is instance setting. There you will go to the option of change termination protection. So here you see by default I have enabled it while I was making. So first I have to disable it so that I can terminate. So I will say yes, disable for me please, and then I go back again instance state. Now if I go to terminate option, I will be getting this option highlighted. Now I can easily terminate this machine. So click on yes terminate. Now this machine is also getting terminated. It is going through shutting down process, then it will go to terminate. Like this one is terminated, this one is still in the process. So once both of them will be terminated, it will take like 20 minutes approx to be removed from this list. Thereafter, once you will go to the dashboard, you will be able to see 0 instance running. When you go to instances, you will not be able to see here any name after 20 minutes. So let us clear other things also, whatever we did today. So if I go to my dashboard, I created one key pair today, if you remember. So key pair you will be able to always see from here. If you want to in case delete it, you can check it here, action, delete, if you don't need it anymore. So this method I have explained you how to delete key pair. Same way if you have a let's say that security group today we created. So in case if you want to delete that security group, select that security group, action, and here you will be getting option of delete security group. Delete. So now if I go to the dashboard, I can see I don't have any keep here. The one security group, it is still showing, that was the default for my users, so I'm not going to delete that one. But rest of the things I made it 0. 0 instance running, 0 dedicated host I have, 0 volumes I have, 0 key pair I have. I have reset them everything back so that I will not be charged for it. So what we can see, we have finished with all this task now. So let's move to the last session, last section of this training. So we will be having a look at some of the questions relevant to this particular session. So very first question from this session is question number 1. What if you require to build LAMP, Linux, Apache, M for MySQL, P for PHP. So if you require to build LAMP on 5 EC2 instance for project developer, which is the preferred mode? Base Linux or Bootstrap Linux? Which one you will be preferred? Which one you will prefer to have? Write the answer. Second question goes to you that you are using a Windows 10 PC or maybe any Windows machine. So which file is required to authorize or authenticate the PuTTY task to connect to a Linux EC2 instance? Meaning that maybe your laptop is running Windows 10. From there you want to access or you want to connect with Linux EC2 instance. So which file is required? Which file we add in the SSH authentication? If you remember the extension of that file, that will be just the answer. Extension of the file which is required for the SSH by the PuTTY. Answer is already there. PuTTY private key. So what was the extension of it? Question number 3. What is GP2 in EBS? Whenever we were creating, whenever we were launching instance, we were selecting the volume type. We were choosing GP2 there. So what is the meaning of GP2? Question number 4. What is the default size of EBS for Linux instance and for Windows instance? If you are creating a Linux instance, what is the hard disk size it is taking? When you are using Windows machine, how big the size is? How much GB it is? Please write the answer for this. And the last question from today's lesson, that is, what is the default extension of key pair which we download for EC2 instance? When you download the key pair, that time what is the extension of that file? So please write the answer of all these 5 questions. Writing the answer, answering these questions will help you to prepare yourself, getting ready for the exam, for the interview. So that was all in this particular session. And I hope the video was informative enough for all of you. And I would like to thank you for watching.